It is officially UFC 324 fight week and the return of UFC after 6 weeks off. Welcome back to Gibbo MMA. We are previewing this exciting main event, Just Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, for what I called, and I'm standing still on business, the most useless interim title fight. But without that, awesome main event, great matchup to start off the Paramount deal. This card is absolutely stacked. I am looking forward to it. We're going to preview it. And firstly, hope you guys enjoyed the break. I know I did. 6 weeks off, I think, was needed, especially last year. I started previewing, reviewing these cards, and yeah, after really getting more into the sport in this format of creating content, I was like, wow, these 41 events a year, 8 hours straight of watching fights, I was really feeling it. So the break was much needed, but refreshed, rejuvenated, and cannot wait for this weekend. And this is a new era of the UFC, being that it's on Paramount. Lucky to you, UFC fans in the United States, you don't have to pay for pay-per-views anymore. That's gone. But here in Australia or anywhere else in the world, we still have to buy the pay-per-views. Yes, it's on Paramount, the rest of the fights, but pay-per-view wise, we still have to go to Main Event KO and purchase it, which is still a bit annoying, but it is what it is. And firstly, the co-main event of this fight is now Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong, after Kayla Harrison had to pull out last week due to a neck injury. She has to get surgery. She had to get surgery, and I was really looking forward to that co-main. Everyone thought that should have been the main event, but the UFC, they wanted to put the main event to be a fight that's not going to disappoint. And Just Gaethje, one of the most, if not the most entertaining fighter of all time. And Paddy's, entertaining as well. You can't go wrong with the main event going well. But yeah, super bummed with that women's fight being postponed. Who knows when that will happen with the recovery of Kayla Harrison. But other than that, Natalia Silva and Namajunas gets bumped from the prelims onto the main card. But let's get straight into it. Main event, Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, the favorite. And I'm leaning towards him in this fight. I think he's just getting better and better each time. You saw it in the Michael Chandler fight. Yes, Chandler's pretty much is washed, but he's at that age now and at that stage of his career where he's putting it all together. He's in his physical prime now. He's 31 years old, Gaethje 37, and he's just keeps getting better and better. And he's and coming up against a 37-year-old battered and bruised Gaethje, I think this is in his favor. And I love Gaethje, and we know Paddy's weaknesses around his chin as far as leaving it up, but no one's knocked him out. No one's caught him yet. So it can't really be a weakness. You could see an opportunity. Can Gaethje find the chin? We'll find out. I don't think he will. And that's why I have Paddy winning this fight. He's 7-0 in the UFC, professional record of 23-3. He's only been finished once via submission, never been knocked out. And this is just a perfect way for him to get that Ilia Topuria fight. He beats Justin Gaethje, then he gets the fight. What we all want to see versus Paddy versus Ilia. Yes, his run to this fight has been questionable, but if this wasn't an interim fight, and no one would be talking about his run in the UFC, but because they've put an interim title on it, then everyone's like, oh, he hasn't fought anyone inside the top 10, like Michael Chandler, King Green, Tony Ferguson, Jared Gordon, Jordan Levitt, Rodrigo Vargas, and Luigi Vedramini. and the Jared Gordon fight, I believe he lost. Like, that was super controversial, that decision win he got. And then he fought a Wash Tony on an 8-fight losing streak. A King Green, mind you, Islam beat King Green and got a title shot. And then Michael Chandler, who's, entertaining fighter, but yeah. In that last fight, Paddy looked so good. You could see the skill level and him putting it all together. It was a 5-round scheduled fight, and people have been questioning his cardio. And, he finished him in the 3rd round. Will this fight go 5 rounds with Justin? I think someone's getting finished, and I think Paddy gets it done on the ground. And I say that because Justin, great stand-up, good takedown defense, but he's been submitted by Khabib and Charles Oliveira on the ground. You could see he wasn't able to do any defense against those guys. Is Paddy of that caliber? I don't think so, but again, I think he gets underestimated because of his character, and he's a bit goofy on the feet with that chin up. Is it something with the Brits where they just like to keep their chin up, like you see with Tom Aspinall? Yeah, maybe it's in their DNA. They literally just can't tuck their chin in and, look through their eyebrows. They have to really keep that head up so they can see. I don't know. But a little bit about Gaethje. This is his 6th title fight. And this is the 2nd time he's fighting for an interim belt. And the first time was against Tony Ferguson, where he won. And then he fought Khabib. So he's been in, this will be his 2nd interim title fight. He's been in 2 BMF title fights and 2 undisputed against Oliveira Khabib. And the one against Oliveira was weird because Oliveira missed weight by half a pound. So he was the only one that was eligible to win the title. But he ended up losing that fight. And so this is his, say, 4th fight for gold. But, interim title fights, when you look back on history, no one puts any value on an interim title like you see with Dustin Poirier, Kobe Covington, Tony Ferguson, all interim title winners but never undisputed. And it just, they're never up, they're never going to be introduced as a former UFC world champion, unfortunately. But yeah, Gaethje's 2nd time fighting for an interim title fight, and there's been talks previously when he was negotiating his next fight that if he doesn't get a title fight, he will retire. And he got a title fight, wasn't undisputed. But if he wins this, he gets Ilya to get undisputed. But if he loses, I think he will either retire or try and get that rematch with Max Holloway, or fight the winner of Holloway versus Oliveira for the BMF title and then go out and retire. But Gaethje, great stand-up, one of the most entertaining fighters of all time. 37 years old. He does have, I'd say he's got the better stand-up. He's got as you see, he's got real clean boxing and good kicks. I just think, is this fight going to be you must have forgot about Justin Gaethje and how, better of a fighter he is and skill level? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Paddy's, he's a big lightweight, and yeah, Justin does get hit. You can really very much touch up Justin Gaethje. He's coming off that win against Rafael Fiziev, who also has great stand-up. He's beat Fiziev twice. Mind you, Fiziev was coming off short notice. It's been, he got that crazy knockout loss to Max Holloway. But yeah, I think this is just Paddy's moment. I think it's set up great. It's a very tough fight for Paddy. Don't get me wrong. I'm, probably 70-30, 60-40% in Paddy's favor for this fight. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is you almost have forgot Justin Gaethje's been a top 5 lightweight for freaking almost 8 years or something. Like, he's been fighting absolute dogs. And is Paddy going to be shown, hey, welcome to a top 5 lightweight? Because, yeah, he hasn't fought anyone in the top 5, let alone top 10. Really, I think maybe Michael Chandler was a top 10 when he fought him. Yeah, but this main event's going to be great. We've got Arman Sarukian, who's been probably the longest number 1 contender of all time in the UFC. But if he said in an interview, I believe that headbutt he did against Dan Hooker most likely costed him this fight, because as you saw him pull out against Islam due to back injury, UFC just, if they can't rely on you for these big main event pay-per-view or big title fights, especially starting the year on a new broadcast deal, they can't rely on you. And he's shown that he hasn't been reliable. So I believe that's why he missed out on this interim title fight. Because, yeah, like, even though he beat Dan Hooker, and if that cut had been really bad on Dan Hooker, and they had to call the fight, the main event, because of that, him being stupid, it's like he got super lucky that Dan Hooker's, just a beast and was like, who cares? But a lot of guys would have been like, nah, I'm not fighting, just cut me. So that's what I believe is costing Arman his title shot. Not because of merit. I believe he would have got this, but because he's just been a hooligan and stupid with these main event slots and putting the UFC in bad positions. But anything else to touch on this main event? I think if Paddy gets this to the ground, can Justin Gaethje defend, sprawl, get back up to his feet? Can Paddy control him and submit him? I think either Justin knocks out Paddy or Paddy submits Justin. I think it either goes that way, a decision, quite possibly a decision. You could see a 3-2 Paddy, or you could, if Justin can wind back the clock like he did that performance against Tony Ferguson, I would be thinking Justin will be trying to get Paddy into the later rounds, really test him. But it's going to be a great fight. I got Paddy winning, but, I'm just here, for the show for this one. I got no dog in this fight, but if I just have to go and put a pick out there, I think, it's really, the new era of the UFC now, sort of out with the older guys, and I think it's just the turn of the tides right here, and I think Paddy wins this and then calls out Ilia Topuria for the undisputed belt. Now, co-main event is now O'Malley, Song Yadong, 3-round fight. O'Malley, 2-fight losing streak. Song Yadong coming off a controversial, weird technical decision or whatever win over over Henry Cejudo last year at UFC Seattle. He poked him in the eye. Cejudo takes his 5 minutes, then continues, and then he's like, yeah, it's not getting better. I still can't see. And he doesn't get the no contest. They make it a technical decision in Song Yadong's favor. And yeah, he hasn't fought since. And so this is going to be a fun matchup. A powerful, explosive guy in Song Yadong against a technical, long, lanky striker in Sean O'Malley, who has also one-hit knockout power. Big question is Song Yadong going to try and wrestle Sean O'Malley? You've seen what Merab did to O'Malley. Is Song Yadong going to, put aside his striking and go, let's get this win so I can put myself up for a title shot? He's in Uriah Faber's team, Team Alpha Male. I'm sure, they're smart guys. I'm sure they'll be going to try and grapple in this fight. Like, it's a clear path to victory. And yeah, Song Yadong hasn't fought, in almost a year. But yeah, on Tapology here, it's got decision, technical, eye poke. I think it should have just been a no contest. And Henry Cejudo started to come back in that fight. Song Yadong always starts well. And Henry started to come back. And this 3-round fight definitely favors Song Yadong. He's a really fast starter. And Sean O'Malley's used to fighting those 5 rounds now. And it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to more of a sprint in the 3 rounds against a speed and explosive guy in Song Yadong. And, before the Henry fight, he fought Petr Yan. And he was winning that fight. And I think he won the first round maybe, and then lost the last 2. But he lost that to Petr Yan in a close decision fight. It was unanimous, but still competitive. But yes, Sean O'Malley, he's been not necessarily on a drop off. I think it's just because he's fought Merab back-to-back times and has lost against a prime Merab. And there was just a clear deficiency in the wrestling. And that's why he was getting beaten. And his run, he's a bit like Paddy too, where you think, his run to the title a bit questionable. They're trying to push him, giving him, opponents. And like when he won the title against Aljo, you see it inside the UFC. Aljo, he's injured. They're trying to make him get a short turnaround. Because when he wanted to fight, but he was like, just give me a break, man. Because he fought Henry Cejudo in May, beat him by a split decision. And then he fought Sean O'Malley in August. So April, May, June, July, August. So 5 months later, 2 months through camp. So he had 3 months off. And he'd already fought Henry, and then TJ Dillashaw, and then Petr Yan. And he had lingering injuries, issues he kind of just wanted to heal. But he got rushed back into that title fight with Sean O'Malley and then got finished as we saw. But then comes back, moves up to featherweight, beats Calvin. I don't know why I'm talking about Aljo, but I just think with the Sean O'Malley, his run to the title was a little bit, not easy, but he got a good run. And then he got to fight Marlon Vera, where Merab was right there waiting. And then he fought Merab, lost that, 5-0, and then got finished the next time. So this is definitely a matchup in his favor if it stays on the feet. But I think Song Yadong, with his 3 rounds, and if, he does go to the grappling, he could very much win this. And I pretty much see it Sean O'Malley by decision or Song Yadong. Is anyone going to get finished in this fight? I don't think so. I think it's going to go decision either way. And I'm leaning towards Sean just because if he can, avoid the takedown and just do that volume, he can very much win this. So, interesting comeback fight for Sean O'Malley here because he's been talking about maybe giving it up because, he just doesn't want to keep losing. And that just shows you that run to the title and then just instant dip. 1 title defense against Marlon Vera, who didn't really deserve it. Now, for the heavyweights, Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. This is going to be a really fun matchup. Winner could slot their way to an interim or a title fight. As you know, the heavyweight division's in a bit of a kerfuffle right now with the Tom Aspinall eye injury. And Waldo, he's been on a great tear. He's, took that short notice fight against Shamil Gaziev, knocks him out in the first round. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He beat Ante Delija. He got eye poked, chose to continue, then instantly knocked him out. So he's on a 2-fight win streak. Before that, he lost a decision against Sergey. I was not a huge fan of early UFC Waldo just because of, a bit decision 80. He's 9-2 in the UFC, but he just became a bit decision 80. Went 1-2, knocked out Ryan Spann and then another 1-2. decisions, but now he's on a 2-fight win streak, 2 back-to-back knockouts. He's really finding his groove now, and he's facing the OG, the vet, Derek Lewis, who's coming off the fraud check win over Talison Teixeira. I don't know how like heavyweights, especially Derek Lewis, something you don't know what you're going to get with him sometimes. If he's like with the Talison Teixeira fight, like he was an underdog, 3-1 underdog, and just cleans him up in the first 35 seconds. So I'm leaning towards Waldo WCA in this fight because of his speed and lateral movement. Derek Lewis just kind of plants his feet and doesn't move a lot. And WCA, I think, will be able to do dance circles around him. And I think he's going to be smart. He's not going to just dive in to Derek Lewis's world and just go straight into boxing range and let Derek just knock him out. I think he's going to be doing some good body kicks, leg kicks, and great movement over 3 rounds, and I think he'll win by decision. I want Derek Lewis to win. My balls is hot. I very much want him to win, but I just don't think Waldo is going to give him a chance to knock him out. I think Derek's going to have to be much more agile and move a lot more in this fight to back him up and then look for the knockout, because Talison Teixeira just rushed him. Just the lowest fight IQ. I don't know how he got that. I remember doing the preview for it, like, what is this kid doing? How has he got in this fight? And he was trying to mug Derek Lewis in the weigh-ins, like the disrespect. And then he tries to rush the guy with like the most knockouts in UFC history. And he got knocked out. So I think WCA is a lot smarter than that. And again, it's just going to be an entertaining fight. I got WCA winning, but my heart wants Derek Lewis to win because the way he wins is usually a fun-as knockout. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting heavyweight fight, because if Derek wins, I think they give him a title shot against, maybe they run him and Cyril Gane. But again, heavyweight's been a tough division as far as quality, and it's, this is a good heavyweight matchup, a true heavyweight matchup. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of wrestling. Hope not. Now, we move on to the first fight of the main card. Before I do, we're recording. This is the fight I've been looking forward to most. This is the one where I have a big dog in this fight. And and this person is, if you go watch my end of year champions, my 2026 predictions, this guy is my end of year featherweight champion. And that is Arnold Almighty Allen. Let's go. Got the shirt on again, the Almighty shirt. Go to almightymerch.co to get yours. Not an ad. I've had this shirt for a bit over 2 years now. Still good quality. But Arnold Allen versus Jean-Lord Silva in this featherweight matchup. This is probably going to be the fight of the night. This is a really super underrated fight. Like, I'm looking forward to this fight the most. Because I'm a big Arnold Allen fan, but also, like, these guys are going to just stand there and they're going to be technically striking with bad intentions. And these guys, this is real make or break for both of these guys. Jean-Lord Silva coming off that knockout loss to Diego Lopez at UFC Noche last year in September. Has he had enough time off? It's been, about 4 months? Is this too soon? But as you saw, Lord Silva, he kind of got that catapulted to get to beat Lopez. Didn't pan out, and now Lopez is fighting for the title. So now he's getting a ranked number 6 Arnold Allen, who has been out for 18 months due to just shoulder injury. He's been a bit unfortunate. And people forget, man. People, because Allen's activity's been low just due to injury. This guy is one of the very few who started the UFC 10-0. He was on a 10-fight win streak and then fought Max Holloway for a main event fight and lost 3-2 or 4-1. He did, it was a competitive fight, entertaining fight, but, Max Holloway is one of the greatest featherweights of all time. And he was right there with him. And since then, he's been hard done by on that Movsar Evliov fight. Like, he should have won that. Like, even with the current rule set, I believe, like, that wasn't an illegal knee because Movsar was trying to plant his hands. But every time Allen kneed him, his hands were off the ground because he was lifting him. So Allen was really hard done by in that Movsar fight because he kneed him straight in the face, and then Mark Goddard stepped in saying it was illegal. And if it was, he should have taken a point away, going by that rules that he was trying to enforce. So yeah, super hard done by the ref there. Like, the ref's always like, oh, we don't want to intervene with the fights. Well, they intervened and really fucked it up. So yeah, I was pretty annoyed with that because he lost to Max and then a year later lost to Movsar. And he should have won that, and then he should have been getting that title shot. But I think it's meant to be because he beats Giga. I believe he had an injured wrist or something during that fight. He really couldn't unload. And now he gets a big name in Lord Silver. This is going to get people going, oh, yes, Arnold, I remember now. And he is going to finish Jean Lord Silver. And then he's going to get up right there with Movsar Lorraine for a title shot. I think so. And maybe he gets a quick turnaround to London. Maybe he's like, I'm healthy, let's go. But yeah, Arnold started 10-0 in the UFC, and then he got that fight with Max Holloway and lost. So I think, like, if he wins that, he's fighting Volkanovski or whoever's the champ. Like, that was his road to the title right there. Wins over Dan Hooker, Calvin Kattar, Sadiq Yusuf, Gilbert Melendez. Like, he made his UFC debut back in 2015. Holy shit. Super young because he's only 31 years old. So he's very much in his prime now, Arnold Allen. And I think Lord Silver is, like, it was a big step up against Diego Lopez. But Arnold Allen is skillful everywhere. He is in his prime. He is great everywhere. Like, you saw him neutralize Movsar really well, get him, defending. And if he did get down, straight back up. And people are saying, oh, Movsar's the guy. Well, Arnold Allen arguably beat him. And if it wasn't for Mark Goddard stepping in for saying it was an illegal knee, which it wasn't, and they literally changed the rules after this. That fight literally got them to really change that rule where fighters were just putting their hands down to say they're grounded because it was just stupid. It was just rewarding incompetence. And Arnold Allen, I think he wins this, fights again sort of mid-year, wins that, and then gets a title shot at the end of the year. Because if Volk vacates or retires, I think he gets a vacant title shot at the end of the year against, maybe a Movsar or Lorraine. We'll see. And I think he beats Lord Silver. Yes, Lord Silver is powerful, but I think, he's definitely humbled. But when fatigue sets in, he's going to go back into those habits of showboating and everything. And Arnold Allen is locked in. I think his level's above because, the noise and the outside stuff sometimes elevates a fighter, and that's what it does to Lord Silver, the aura. But I think his aura is going to be taken away by the Almighty. And yeah, it's going to be a super fun fight. I think this will be my fight of the night. And remember, Silver, his last win is against Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell literally is a bantamweight now. Like, I don't really rate that win. He got that ninja choke, but Bryce Mitchell was always an undersized featherweight. Like, Ili Topuria finished him. Um, yeah, like, yeah, I don't really rate the win against Bryce Mitchell, and then he gets Diego Lopez and then gets finished in the second round, just being reckless. And, he's got power and all, but I think Allen's just too good on the feet. We'll see it coming. He gets touched then and there, Allen, but he's got a good chin himself. He's never been knocked out, never been finished, Allen. Yeah, never been finished. He only has 3 career losses, which are via decision. So he's 20-3 in his decision losses against Moser, which he should have won. Max Holloway, no knock on losing to Max. And then early in his career in Cage Warriors, I lost the decision. But since then, he won on a 13-fight win streak and then got chopped by Max Holloway. So this is my fight of the night. This is the one I'm looking forward to most. I got a dog in this fight. Yes, I'm being biased, but I think, people just forget Arnold Allen is that guy. It's just been injuries that have just held him back. But he's skill for skill. He matches everyone. And I think he gets it done maybe in the 3rd round here. I think it's going to be a wild first round. Silva might land some big shots, but I think Allen will weather that storm. And I believe Allen will summon the Almighty and finish. Lord Silva, get a bonus, call his title shot, announce his return to the octagon after 18 months out. Woo! I'm keen. I'm very much keen. Now, prelims, and then we'll finish it off. These prelims are great too. These prelims, and this will be the first time in Australian TV history you'll be able to watch a combat sports fight free to air. Well, let's narrow it like UFC, MMA, free to air. This is the first time ever you'll be able to watch it on free to air. So the prelims will be broadcasted live free to air on Channel 10 in Australia, free to air. So this is the first time ever this is happening. This is history. And the only time combat sports is ever broadcasted live for free to air TV in Australia is literally when the Olympics are on and they've got amateur boxing, wrestling, taekwondo, judo. That's the only time a combat sports is broadcasted live free to air is the Olympic Games and the Commonwealth Games. So this is the first time cage fighting, boxing, that doesn't even get free to air. But UFC MMA is going to be free to air pretty much, I believe, for the first time. This is history because I've had to pay subscriptions, go to pubs, taverns to go and watch the UFC. And this is the first time ever I'll be able to literally turn on the TV free to air and go, boom, UFC. So this is, big moment. And hopefully, eventually, there'll be no pay-per-views maybe next year. And we can just maybe flick on Paramount and that'll be charged $60. So prelim time, we got Umar Nurmagomedov taking Davison Figueiredo. And people are like, why isn't this, former champion Davison, flyweight champ, on the main card? I think I just realized I missed Talia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Shit. We'll do that one next. If it wasn't for the last name, Nurmagomedov, Umar's on the early prelims. And, he's a good fighter, but he's not doing much damage. He's just very much a decisionator. Like that fight against Mario Bautista was only good because Mario was scrambling, was defending, and he dropped Umar in that fight. So, Umar, skillful, yes, but the last time he got a finish was 3 years ago. He got a left hook win over Hayano Barcelos. But UFC, man, especially, they don't like these decisionators. And I think, my 2026 predictions, I think this is the year of the stand-ups. If you're not doing damage on the ground or looking to finish the fight, they're just going to stand you up. Like he's got 2 wins via like he's 19-1. He's got 2 wins via knockout, 7 wins via submission, 10 wins via decision. Like, you're just going to be put on the prelims, even though he's got that name. It's, yeah. And I keep saying it. That's why Khabib was great, because he did damage. He really looked for finishes. So, yeah, he's got Davison Figueiredo on the prelims. And this is, again, he's like a minus 10,000. He's going to win this via decision, just like he does against Davison, because Figueiredo's coming off that loss to Sandhagen where he did his knee. I'll just double check. Because Davidson's a flyweight moving up, because he was a big flyweight. He's got power. I think his only chance is to clip Umar. Like everyone, like Umar gets dropped in the first round. It happens quite a bit. And sorry, he's coming off that win against Montel Jackson, split decision. That was a weird fight. So I think Figueiredo will be looking for that one-shot kill. Good luck to him. I think he just gets wrestle fucked by Umar. And yeah, there's not much really to break down else other than just because that's his last name, people kind of care a bit. But like, if it wasn't for that, he'd be cut from the UFC, I think. Like, he's good and all, but he's not entertaining. And yeah, back to Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. So Natalia steps in because originally it was supposed to be Alexa Grasso. But Natalia Silva, she's, one of the top prospects, contenders at women's flyweight, ranked number 2. Namajunas, former champ, on a bit of a up and down skid since losing the title. But Natalia, 7-0 in the UFC. Great stand-up, real fast, real pitter-pattery. I think she wins this via decision. And the only way I see her losing is if Rose turns back the clock and does that performance in the second fight against Zhang Weili, where she just grappled her and just held her down. I think that's going to be her game plan in this fight. But, that fight against that Rose had against oh, geez. It was one of, if not the worst title fights of all time. Carla Esparza, where they literally didn't even land a strike in the whole fight. Like, it was worse than Adesanya Romero. And ever since that fight, it's been downhill for Namajunas. She beat Zhang Weili back to back. And that's, it's tough because she's beaten one of the best strawweights of all time. Because that's where she originally was, but now she's up to flyweight. You got wins over Amanda Ribas and Cortez, lost to Blanchfield, beat Miranda Maverick. But I think, I think her prime's past her. And I think Natalia Silva will get the win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Namajunas takes her down and gets the decision. Or maybe she winds back the clock and does a head kick knockout. But I got Silva winning that fight. And now moving on. Yeah, these prelims are Tiba Gaethje, middleweight top prospect versus Andre Puliev. Gaethje, first round knockout. Don't need to overthink it. He's one guy that can go from unranked to champion this year if he keeps active. One of my very much favorite middleweights. Probably be drafting him in my UFC MMA draft this week. Got season 2 this year, the MMA draft, where we draft 13 fighters, 1 from each weight class, and 2 wild cards. And so we'll be starting UFC 324 to the White House card, and your fighters score points. So go check out the Instagram, Gibbo MMA. You can follow along. And then Modestas Bukauskas versus Nikita Krylov. I think Modestas finishes this. Modestas coming off that crazy knockout, super underrated knockout over Paul Craig at the buzzer. Just the vicious elbow he landed on Paul Craig sent him to retirement. He's also on a 4-fight win streak, Modestus. He's the one that got his knee torn off, shredded apart by Khalil Roundtree with that front oblique kick to the knee where it just completely hyperextended it. And he's one that could very much get himself a title fight this year. So Nikita, he's very much, I think he's on back-to-back knockout losses. Yeah, it's Dominic, then Bogdan Guskov. So I got Modestus winning this via knockout. One to watch this year as well, becoming a number one contender. And my boy Charles Johnson versus Alex Perez. Charles is my smoky, bold prediction. Is to become a number one contender in the flyweight division. I didn't go as far as champion. I think there's just too many guys in front that can get booked. But he has a win over Joshua Van. Even if he finished Joshua Van, and then a year later Van's champion. So who knows? But Charles Johnson, ranked 13. He knocked out prospect Lonnie Kavanagh, who then became ranked after it somehow. But, the UFC are trying to give him these hard matchups because he's 35 years old. But Perez ranked 11, he gets that, and then he gets a top 10 fight surely. And I got Charles Johnson, winning this via knockout for sure. And I think he becomes a top 3 number one contender fighter in the flyweight division this year. Michael Johnson, man, he's still going against Alexander Hernandez, who has been one of my comeback fighters of the year for last year, who's been on a great knockout tear. I got Hernandez via knockout. But then again, Michael Johnson, I picked him to beat, I think it was Zell Huber. Let's see. Yeah, he beat Zell Huber via decision. He was paying like 4-1 underdog. I picked him to win that. He's been training with Kamaru Usman. You saw it in the embedded sparring partner with Kamaru Usman for 10 plus years. Can never count him out, but Hernandez, he's found a new mojo, and he's another one who's currently unranked at lightweight that can very much become a top 10 guy this year in the lightweight division. And I got Hernandez via knockout. And then, this is where it gets a bit wishy-washy, where UFC are just chucking in Dana White Contender Series fighters, and where the 14, 15 fight cards become too much of a stretch. So the last 3 fights, Josh Hockett, Denzel Freeman, heavyweight, Josh Hockett, round 1 knockout. Ricky Turcois, he was on The Ultimate Fighter versus Cameron Smotherman. That would be a fun fight, that bantamweight. And Ty Miller versus Adam Fugit. Yeah, so that's very much an early prelim fight. And again, even John Anik said it. He's like, these 8-hour fight cards, 15 fights, just isn't digestible and palatable for the UFC fans. Even the hardcore fans, like 8 hours of your time and money, I always say, like, if you've got things to do, get that money. If you're not making money off UFC like I ain't, it'd be great to, but sometimes you're actually putting your life at a disadvantage by spending too much time. So I'm always battling that with like, I want to watch it all, but also that's taking time away from me focusing on getting my shit together and getting sorting myself out. So this year I'm diving in a little bit different. I'm not spending all my time on watching and paying attention to fights that just shouldn't be in the UFC, and trying to beat the casual allegations. Like, I'm not trying to beat casual allegations this year. I don't care if you call me it or not. Or, like I just say, I'm an expert casual. But outside of those last 3 fights, every fight, the rest of the fights very much matter, which is what I look forward to. But this year is going to be a bit different. Like, sometimes I'm not even going to preview fight night cards if they're just like, like, I'm just going to do a preview review on the Monday show if it's just back-to-back Apex cards, the meta Apex cards. So yeah, we're switching it up a little bit this year, guys. because yeah, like after last year, watching every single fight and card, it was like it really took away the love and keenness for the sport, because you're just getting these random guys off the regional scene, and you're like all that time spent on that, you can really be doing other stuff to better yourself. So yeah, this year we're focusing on the important stuff, and not saying the other fighters aren't important. It's just like, again, if you got to make people pay attention and make yourself important. And if it ain't it, I'm going to be honest and let you guys know what I think. And yeah, those last three are just filling the card. They're just filling, their requirements. They got the deal, $7.7 billion deal now. So it's just meeting their obligations. But again, you don't need to watch it. Just watch the ones you want to. And my job here is to let you know which ones to watch. And I'm going to be honest, all the fights except for the first three, watch those. Because I will be, but the first three I won't be. That'll be on, you can catch up easy by an Instagram reel with those ones. But that's UFC 324 preview done, the first preview of the year. Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments. I'm super keen, super stoked. I'll be doing instant reactions and reviews on this. So yeah, it's going to be a big 2026. Join guys for the wild ride. It's going to be this year. I think it's going to be insane because of the spotlight it's going to be in now, because the access, there's never going to be, like, no one's ever had this much access, easy access to the UFC in history. And look how far it's come. So it's going to a new level, and we're going to really find out where it stands, because with the new fans coming in, like I was saying, with 41 events, 8-hour fight cards, 15, 14 fights, it's really going to weed out and really show the quality of the product. And John Ack has it right. Like, how are you supposed to give time to each fighter when there's so many? Whereas like 10 fights is perfect. Like 5-fight main card, 5-fight prelim, perfect. But when you start adding in these extra ones and stuff, it starts to become a bit of a stretch. But again, ending with a positive, UFC consistently always put on a great product, but there's always these lows, and we just want to reduce that. But enjoy the fights, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But 2026, let's go. And we're starting with an interim title fight, but who cares? It is a great fight. Forget the title. But it is a great card this weekend. And I'll see you guys in the review. Catch you later.